Hey guys, Retro Gaming Maniac here, and I am with the Nostalgia Kid.
Been a while for me. Yeah.
Yeah, and we just watched the Nintendo Direct the other day, and we wanted to go over it, give our impressions on it, what we thought about it, things we're happy about, things we're not happy about, and just what we think overall, the direction Nintendo's going, and things like that. So hope you guys enjoy. But let's go ahead and get started. Nate, what was your initial impression of the Nintendo Direct? I know there was a lot of really cool games shown, a lot of information regarding the system. The only thing we didn't really get was the specs on the system,
Yeah.
but we got to see a lot of how they want to integrate, more of a community and like the live game service with the. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, when I was first watching the stream in live time, in real time, I was like, man, initial thoughts just they're knocking it out of the park. I really liked everything I saw initially. I really did. I had a lot of well, I was smiling the whole time. I mean, smiling ear to ear because it just looks like it seemed like every little thing they were doing and building up to was just really exactly what we've been asking for. You know, the chat,
Yeah,
the community stuff. I thought the camera stuff was cool because for someone like me, I work away from home. You know, I could get on camera and play games with my family, and I thought that's really cool.
yeah,
I know maybe that's kind of more of a niche thing, but I thought, I'm that niche with my family and working away. So I was really, really impressed with everything. To be honest, I liked it. I liked some of the games that they, it was really cool to see a return to a 3D Donkey Kong. I was a huge
yeah.
fan
That
of
was cool.
Donkey Kong 64 back in the day.
Yep.
I loved that game. So that was really cool for me to see the change in Mario Kart World. That was pretty cool. I got to say I was thoroughly impressed in the first 45 minutes or really even hour or so of that the whole direct. I was really impressed with it at first.
Yeah, that's kind of the vibe I got. I saw a lot of the games that they were talking about. The Mario Kart World to me looked really good. I like the idea of being
Yeah,
able to be in an open world and just drive around to different tracks. And I like the idea of the Donkey Kong, um,
yeah.
more of like a 3D action platformer, collectathon style, like we got with Super Mario 64 and Donkey Kong 64.
Hmm.
And I noticed they took a very comedic approach to Donkey Kong and kind of changed his overall look. So I'm interested to see how that works out. The other game I'm interested in is Dusk Bloods, which
Yes,
has a very Bloodborne or
Bloodborne.
Castlevania look
Yeah.
to it. Yeah.
Hmm.
So I'm interested to see that one. We're still not really sure what kind of game that's going to be. They're saying it's an online versus co-op RPG, so I'm interested to see that, if it's like a battle royale or what it is.
Yeah, right.
The console looks good. It's thicker than the original Switch, but it is also thinner than your average desktop or computer handheld, or
Sure.
mini computer like the Steam Deck or ROG Ally, things like that. So it's still smaller than those, but it is thicker than the original Switch. I like the what specs we did get, the 120 hertz screen. I like that.
I was very impressed with that. Yes.
Yeah, and granted it's not an OLED screen, but that could be a plus or minus depending on how you like it. I think
Sure.
it's they're gonna want to come out with an OLED in the future, I'm sure. So
I'm sure. Yes.
yeah, so that's probably why they did the LCD, because they want to leave that open for an upgrade in the future. Overall, I was pretty impressed with it, and I really enjoyed a lot of the stuff they showed. It looks pretty good. It's a major upgrade over the original Switch. That has the cool mouse feature with the Joy-Con. I don't know how useful it'll be, if it'll be more like a gimmick or not, but certain games
Right.
will probably take advantage of that.
Well, I had a thought that they tried to weasel in a little bit of the Wii motion controls
Yeah.
in with they were
Yep.
trying to, like, it's kind of like the Switch Wii.
Yep.
I personally will probably never play any of the motion control games because that's just not
Nah,
my thing,
I
But
don't play any of those with my Switch now. Like, I don't, my
yeah.
Joy-Cons stay on the Switch every time.
Same, yeah, but it seems like they wanted to cater to that crowd. So
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that enjoy the motion controls, I guess. I mean, I skipped the Wii entirely because I didn't like the motion controls. So, but I think it was actually a very strong direct. It was stronger than I was thinking it was going to be. I
I
was
thought so.
I was yeah, I was a little surprised that there wasn't a Mario announced.
So that was the first negative for me.
Yeah.
I was really shocked at no new Mario. That hurt my core because I'm such a huge Mario fan. I mean, been my mainstay as always is Mario, and the like kind of the Zelda filler title we got. It didn't really, hit me in the feels either.
Yeah.
But my first real negative was there was no new Mario. That was the first thing I said as soon as it ended was, "Where's Mario? Mario is
Yeah.
missing."
It's odd when there's not a Zelda or a Mario for a Nintendo system at launch,
Yeah,
It's they tend to do that every time, and it was kind of odd not to see that. But we know we got a Donkey Kong and a Mario Kart, so that's cool. But you can't really.
Yeah.
It's not a substitute for Mario.
right.
So I'm expecting they're gonna come out with something later this year announcing a Mario. Maybe it's not ready yet. But,
Yeah,
they should have showed at least some kind of like sneak peek of it.
I,
Let people
I
know there is
totally
one coming at least.
I totally expected that when he said now time for the last game or the last for the end of the direct there. I thought, all right, here we go. Here's Mario,
Yeah.
and then no Mario. But
Overall, I was pretty happy with the direct up until they revealed the prices, which I guess we can probably get into some of the negatives.
so that was
Yeah.
they never even really revealed the prices during the direct, did they? It was
No, it was you had to. It kind of came afterwards, and there was like
so
leaks
that
and everything. So
yeah that's the thing. Like I think I think they maybe left that out of the direct on purpose. So,
yeah, yeah, but
so we noticed that I was talking with another guy. We were kind of he was chatting with me a little bit while I was watching it, and he was like, "We didn't get a price."
yeah,
I was like, "You're right. We didn't get a price."
yeah. Now price wise, I was expecting 350 is what I was expecting.
I was kind of in between the 350 and 400,
Yeah.
and then I saw the first price I saw was actually the Japanese price,
Oh,
which
okay.
converted over to like $360 US, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that's perfect." 300 because it's got to be a little bit more than the Switch and the
Oh,
Switch
yeah.
OLED. So
You
I
know.
figured it would be, and but man, I'll tell you, I was not.
So the
I
price
wasn't
that we got ended up being $449.99 for the standard, Switch with just the game and controllers and all the stuff it comes with.
Yeah.
And then of course you can get the bundled version that's $500. It comes with a digital copy of Mario Kart World. So when I saw the $450 price tag, I was a little, I was a little, put off by that. But the more I look at it, I'm like, okay, times are different. Things are more expensive. It does have more technology in it than the original Switch. It can
Right.
do a lot more, 120 hertz screen, all that kind of stuff. So I was like, okay, I can kind of see the 450 price tag. And so I was, at that point, I was okay with it again. And then I got to see the price of the games, and then it all went downhill from there.
just you stating the fact that the console with the digital game opens a door to so much more conversation. Just
Yep.
that in itself, because from there it leads to all the other games and the confused price points
Yep.
for upgraded games, games that are remade for the Switch that's already out and been out for years at this point. I'm absolutely dumbfounded at this point and confused as to how they're pricing this game. And then with the game key, and like the physical game's not feeling really physical
Yeah.
anymore. It's more of like adopting kind of the PlayStation to Xbox style, where you might actually have a disc, but it downloads the game or whatever, and you install it.
Yeah.
Versus you actually having the game information on a cart and you playing it from accessing it from the cart. I'm a little bit hurt by that.
Yeah.
Being
Yeah.
being a longtime Nintendo fan and collector. So I thought they were going to be the company we could lean on for physical,
Yeah, I think I've gotten a little spoiled because here lately I've been a big Steam Deck player. Like I've been playing my Steam Deck a lot. Most of my games I get on Steam Deck are generally like I just got Cyberpunk 2077, like the latest version. I got that for $23 on sale on Steam. And like every game I get for heavy discounts. So
I think
maybe I've just gotten spoiled, but seeing those prices at
yeah, that's
80
what.
$80 and $90 just really, it's like hard to swallow.
Unfortunately for Nintendo, this has been one big advertisement for Steam Deck.
It has.
Because
I
I've
mean,
seen so many people talk about why not buy the Steam Deck instead?
yep.
Why not just? And I honestly, I used to be able to argue that because I love my first party Nintendo games, but at this
Yeah.
point, there's got to be a tipping point, or is it worth it or not? You've got to. I don't know. That's a lot of money for a game, first
It's
party or not.
it's a lot of money, and the thing is like $80 for a digital game is crazy. Like I still haven't got used to the games being $70 for PS5. Like, I was used to games being 60. It's been 60 for the longest time. And then I saw like the new PS4 Dead Island game that came out was 70. I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
I don't know if I could pay $70. And then now they're like, hey, Nintendo's like, here's a digital copy of a game for $80. Like, what?
I know.
If you want a physical, it's 90. I couldn't believe it.
There's two things I'd like to mention here. So one, I've seen some people on social X, formerly known as Twitter, talk about how Super Nintendo games were, some of them $80, $90 back in the Super Nintendo heyday. But the thing is, those costs were related to manufacturing, actual hardware components. They don't have that issue today.
Yeah.
So the price point being, as wild high as it is coming from a different.
It cost them 10 cents to make a Blu-ray,
sure.
If that.
Yeah, yes. So
and these little SD cards they make, there's nothing there compared to like the old days, like you were saying, where you had to have the cartridges with like the special chip in it for certain games. And
yes.
The huge circuit board,
That was a manufacturing cost back in those days. And then, you think about too, the second point I wanted to have people think about in this is the licensing. Licensing. Say that for me, please. The licensing. Yeah, there we go. So the licensing, we're paying for the licensing. We're not paying for an actual game. We're paying to, play the game on our system.
Yeah.
And that's a tad bit worrisome because of what happened to DuckTales back on the Wii. When they decided to take that game away digitally, the DuckTales remaster, you can no longer play that game unless you had it physical.
Yeah.
So if you have, you're buying a license to play a game, who's to say, well, hey, we're not totally satisfied with this game, so now we're going to rip it. And, you don't get no refund. They can do what they want at that point. It's not total ownership.
Yeah, and if we're honest, if you look at some of Nintendo's, you look at the Wii, the Wii U, the 3DS, all those stores where you bought games, like, if you don't have those downloaded, they're gone. Like, you can't get them back. Gone. So Nintendo doesn't have the strongest history of be like, hey, I know you bought this, 10 years ago. Don't worry, it's going to stay in your system. We're going to have it in the cloud somewhere. Like, it's gone. And which is yet, and I hate to say, is another advertisement for the Steam Deck.
Sure.
Because I've had my Steam account since 2007, 2008. And every game I've purchased, with the exception of like maybe one game that, well, technically it's still in my account. I just can't play it because the servers are down. But like every game is still there. Like,
right.
And it's been around for so long. Like when I buy a game, I know it's still going to be there. Like Nintendo, I may buy it on the Switch, and they're like, "Oh, we're shutting our stores down, and you're just going to be out of luck." I was like, "What?"
Yeah, it kind of reminds me. Remember that? I think this was back on the PS4. They had that. It was a horror game demo that you could download, and
PT.
I think it had. Yeah, PT. That's right. And it was only there for that short time. And like if you deleted it, you couldn't get it anymore. But some people still had it, and they were like selling their consoles for thousands of dollars because they still had it.
You can still buy them on eBay for a ridiculous amount of money because it has that demo.
So I worry about going that direction for that very reason.
Yeah.
And I thought we could lean on. I thought Nintendo would be the one that we wouldn't have to worry about that. And now with the way they're kind of pushing things that looks like they want to go that direction, which is not what the fans, not what is at the heart of the fans, in my opinion. Anyways, we Nintendo fans seem to be physical people. I mean, for the most part.
Yeah, which is odd that I can't figure out why they're charging so much. $90. Now, I've heard mixed things. I've heard some people say digital is 70, physical is 80, but then the reports I've been seeing the most is digital is 80 and physical is 90.
I've seen both, yeah.
Yeah, and it may be a mix of both. Like maybe the Zelda is going to be 90, but your average, Switch 2 game will be 80 or something. I don't know. But they made a lot of good steps in the right direction with the Switch 2, and then where they misstepped, they were such huge missteps. It really knocked it down for me. Just I don't like the idea of the game keys, like you were saying. I don't like the idea of the prices of the games, both digital and physical. And a lot of people try to argue, like, oh, well, this, look back in the day, Super Nintendo games were 70. I was like, that may be the case, but you have to look at and take into consideration what is the norm these days. The norm these days is games are $40 and $60. So yeah, just because games at some point may have been more expensive back in the day, the norm is most games are $60 to $70. So for them to come out of nowhere at $90, and then to go and cancel pre-orders and say, hey, prices may go up even more, we'll let you know.
Well, I have a small bone to pick there too.
Yeah.
Okay, so they knew that their presentation was dropping on April the 2nd.
Yep.
I mean, Nintendo knew that. We've known for quite some time that the tariffs were going to take into effect on April 2nd.
Yeah.
Why couldn't they have had a post weeks beforehand saying, hey, price points may change on what we have currently set on the Switch, versus waiting to 2 days after the launch of the Direct to bring up a point like that. Now, my personal opinion, it kind of feels a little bit funny, like they might be using the tariffs thing as a little bit of a scapegoat and a way to point the finger at the tariffs, but really it's because of the backlash of the people of the price. I get that feeling a little bit, because I'm not in my recent history. In my memory, I don't recall Nintendo ever admitting to many mistakes.
Yeah, and they're very odd with that. Like, as far as they still won't admit that there's an issue with Joy-Con drift.
You're right.
They just act like it doesn't exist.
So instead of admitting, hey, we overpriced this stuff, we need to check it out, they say, hey, we need to look. It might be the tariffs that's driving these prices up. So
yeah, and
I don't know though. I mean, I don't know. That's just, I had that thought, because
I'm sure the tariffs will have some impact on the price of games and goods, but at the same time, most companies, Sony, Microsoft, they take a hit when they make a console. They actually lose money. Like, they don't. Sure. The way they price it, because they price competitively, but Nintendo has a tendency they refuse to lose money on their consoles. So they could temporarily say, hey, this is the price, and we're going to keep it at this price for as long as we can. We'll take the hit until the tariff thing, runs its course, or, settles down, and we figure out, what the price is. Because they could just leave the price like it is and not pass that on to the consumer and just take a hit, because they already have structured it a way that they make a profit, as opposed to Sony, Microsoft, where they lose money every console.
Yes.
So there is ways they could have gone around it, and I just have a very anti-consumer feeling from Nintendo this time around, just based on their pricing structure, and they're already pretty rigid when it comes to what they allow people to show on YouTube and their copyright practices, and then you just combine that with these high prices and the canceling of the pre-orders and basically saying they're going to pass the cost of that on to the consumer. It's just not, kind of rubbed me the wrong way. So
yeah, same here. I mean, would you think that it has something to do with the Nintendo's newer president? Because I always had heard he was more of a business guy. He had more of in his mind, the direction of the Nintendo that he would take would be more business driven versus creative or maybe consumer driven, I guess, if that makes sense. I mean, it was more going to, it feels like that at this point. I mean, obviously the choices that they're making here with this would make the company more money if people were willing to pay for everything. But with the backlash now, it's kind of, I don't know.
I think part of the problem is it may be like you're saying, it may be the new owner or the new person running it that's more business oriented, and they're just like, this is what makes money, this is what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
But what they also have to remember is this is not 2017 anymore when the Switch launched. When the original Switch launched, this was the only console you could get to play all these modern, AAA games on the go portably. But now, 2025, I mean, you've got so many other options. Steam Deck, you've got ROG Ally, the Legion Go, you've got all these different companies are making handhelds that play AAA games with a bigger library than what the Switch has. I mean, you have thousands and thousands of games available. And I think that's another misstep, is them assuming that they can just charge what they want, charge a high price, and basically be able to get away with it like it's 2017 again. But it's not. People have other options that they will go to, and that's been kind of a trending thing now. People are like, don't buy a Steam Deck, buy a Switch 2, buy a Steam Deck. So it may backfire on them. They have a huge following regardless. People are gonna still buy it, but I do think there's gonna be some pushback, and you will see sales and with some of these other, computer handhelds and gaming handhelds kind of go up because of that.
I feel like Nintendo's also been the company, like I said earlier, that I could always, lean on for my physical, and felt like that I would never have to, I would always be right alongside Nintendo. Like they would be my go-to for, however long. But I also, this hurts me in a way, like, I feel exploited. It's like they're trying to exploit their fans, like, because they know we're going to do whatever it takes to buy physical. They know we want physical.
They're banking on that.
They're banking on it. They're, instead of helping us, they're wanting to suck our wallets. I mean, they want us to. They'll look at the amiibo. I saw them. So the amiibo prices on the Street Fighter amiibos were $30 a piece.
That's a lot.
MSRP. Yeah,
they coming from, they were normally what, $12 to $15.
12 to 15. Yeah. And then so I feel like all these stupid collectors, Nintendo collectors, they'll just pay whatever price, and let's just run with that and see what happens.
And there is a lot of YouTubers too that no matter what Nintendo does, they're all for Nintendo. Like Nintendo. Like, I'm a Nintendo fan, but I can also criticize them. But some YouTubers are just all into Nintendo no matter what. And I have a feeling that's what they think a lot of their fans are. And a lot of the fans are like that, and they will buy it regardless. But the prices have just gotten so... I can't find any game that I could spend $90 on and be comfortable with it. Like, I don't even buy games at $60. Like, I wait for it to go on sale some way or get it used.
Yeah.
And
well, that's kind of how I've been thinking about this. I'm like, well, I would really like to try out the Switch 2, but if I would do a Switch 2, it would make sense to get it bundled with Mario Kart World, because at that point it's making the game $50, right?
Which,
and so
why can't their other games be $50 if they can make Mario Kart $50? Like, they can obviously do that.
That's the confusing part of how they're pricing these games, and like I don't understand it. I think Bravely Default was going to be another $40 game, but then you've got other games that have been out for years and years and years that at $60 and $70. I.e. the Zelda games. I mean, they're Breath of the Wild I think it was a full $70, right? Yeah,
and that's the thing, is Nintendo doesn't lower the price of their games. Like, if you go to the store now and try to buy Breath of the Wild, it's still $60. Yeah. And so, like, if these games do come out and they're $90 for physical, they're going to stay $90 for here on out. And they may come back and say, hey, tariffs, they're going to be $110 now.
Yeah, shoot.
So we don't know. But, I think, like you were saying, I think that they were surprised at the backlash they were getting for the price of the games, and they may be using the tariffs as like a scapegoat to kind of blame it on the tariffs instead of
Yeah.
But they did come out in like an X post, I believe, and just or somebody was saying, I forgot where, but they were basically very surprised at all the backlash, and they were worried about it due to the prices. So we'll see what they do.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm kind of hoping that maybe they whenever they do figure out the pricing thing, and it's all and the dust is cleared and everything, and in my mind I thought, well, what if they say, oh, well, the prices that you see now was adjusted for the tariffs already. Now, we're going to lower these prices back to take a hit and not pass the tariffs on to you all. I almost wouldn't be surprised if they did that, but I'm also going to be not surprised if they don't do that because, like you said, they are Nintendo. They never admit a mistake, and they usually are headstrong about their pricing. So
yeah, I think my prediction is the console's gonna probably stay the same. It may go up temporarily in price.
Yeah,
which kind of happens anyways. You know how many scalpers there are.
The scalp, right?
There's gonna be, you may not be able to get a Nintendo Switch 2 for months.
I think it'll sell out initially too.
Yeah, so I think the games are gonna probably stay at $80-$90, which is just crazy. I already don't buy very many Switch games because they're so expensive.
Right.
I just have trouble dropping $60 on a game like that. And now that they're gonna go up to 80 or 90, it's just like I can't even justify it.
I know.
And I do enjoy physical game collecting and all that. So this whole, I feel like they're trying to force people to go digital by making it cheaper, even though it's only slightly cheaper. But then they're doing the game key thing, the game key pass or whatever. So yeah, I'm kind of disappointed with that. It all kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And then on top of that, I was kind of aggravated that the demo game that shows you how the Joy-Con and all the new features of the Switch is not going to be an included game. It's going to be something you have to pay for.
Oh my goodness, I cannot. That is such a Nintendo move, but
it is, yeah,
unreal.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, that's so anti-consumer. Like, it just has that anti-consumer feel to it, like everything else. Like, that's the theme. This is like screw the buyer,
It's unreal. That is so. I couldn't believe that. Like, pay us to look into
how it works.
That's unreal. I'm dumbfounded by all this. I really am. I did a podcast with a guy a few years ago, and we talked about where does the Switch go after the Switch is done.
Yeah.
I remember this podcast distinctly because. There's we in our minds back. This was about 4 years ago.
Yeah.
There was nowhere you could go because the Switch was so good, other than upgrading it, and that seems to be what they have done. And they've done some really good improvements. I was, like I said, I was initially impressed with the Switch. In fact, during the presentation, I texted my brother, and I was like, "Oh man, they're knocking it out of the park."
Yeah.
After the presentation was over and the prices came out, I put, nope, I was wrong, and texted that to him. And he started laughing. He calls me. He's like, what'd they do?
Yeah, it was such a big misstep. Like, it was all going so well. Like, that was probably one of their best Nintendo Directs in recent memory that I can think of. But, like, it's just... So, okay, so to get the console, you want to have a game, right? That's $500 if you get the packing game. A Pro controller, how much is that going to be?
That was I think it was 80. I think it was 79 is what I saw.
Yes, $80 for a Pro controller if you don't want to use the Joy-Cons the whole time. You got to get a camera, right? Because you got to be able to do the new game chat mode, which I will say looked very stuttery and not very good. It was a cool idea, but man, it was some low frames in that game chat. So you got to get the camera, which I believe was what, $50 or $60.
Yes.
And then how expensive? What is it?
So you're gonna need the grips. Probably a Nintendo grips.
Yep.
If you're gonna play in handheld, and probably a case to carry it in handheld. So you're looking at another $60 there. I know that's third party, But I did see the Nintendo does have one ready to go to put your Switch in a carry case, and I think it was $80 as well
Man,
for the
what is it? I mean,
for the first party one.
that's
Uh,
expensive, man.
and, and yeah, just a piece of cardboard with some fabric sewed over it for $80. So,
Yeah. Now, one thing I've
but
always given Nintendo credit for was the cheap online service. So it's like $20 for the year.
right,
Now, what do you think that now? Do we know what the price is going to be for the new online service for the Switch 2? Is it
we don't
gonna?
know yet.
Because right now PlayStation Online is like $60 to $80 for the year.
I so I feel like you say you upgrade right now to for your next you pay for a 1 year Switch. I think
Yeah.
they'll honor that all the way through, and when it's up, you'll pay the new price, whatever that's going to be. I mean, I feel like they're going to add a number to it because of GameCube.
Yeah, it's got to because I already didn't play the you know how you could pay for the extra like Nintendo 64 games for the Switch Online?
Yes,
It was like $14.99 or something a month. I didn't do that because I didn't want to pay that much more. But I mean, they're adding GameCube now. Like I could see this being a $50 or $60 a year type thing.
yeah, yeah. I
Like
think you're probably in the ballpark.
it's just getting to be. It's not 2017 anymore. There's other options for people out there that, in my personal opinion, are probably better options. I may or may have not been emulating Switch games on my Steam Deck. I'll just say that. So.
well, I will say this too. At the rate we didn't get a new Mario announced. We didn't get
Yeah.
a new like real Zelda game announced. At the rate that they dropped their first party Nintendo games, I don't. It's hard. Like it's hard to like you said. You can get every other game on the Steam Deck.
Yeah.
I
I mean, I get
can
Xbox games, Sony games on the Steam Deck. I mean, you
Yeah,
play God of War and all that on there.
we can literally get everything else.
Yeah.
So if the first party exclusives are going to be Donkey Kong 64 and Mario Kart World,
Yeah.
I think I'm all right. You know,
Yeah.
I really do. And so some people have been saying that they're gonna wait to drop Mario as a holiday title because that's gonna want to sell more consoles. Everybody's gonna want to buy Switch 2 just to play Mario.
Yeah.
And then Metroid, Metroid Prime, which I would love to play Metroid Prime 4. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong,
That does look good.
but man, at, I don't know. This is the first time since I was a little boy that I may skip a Nintendo console, and I may
Yeah.
just be like, hang it up, and I'll live on my memories of the past, with
Yeah,
Nintendo, because I just don't know if I can afford that
and I like to
going
think
forward,
like I could wait 2 years, get the console used,
or do something like that. Yes,
but then
or wait.
I'm running into the issue of since Nintendo doesn't ever lower the cost of their games, like okay, yeah, I saved
That's a good
$50
point.
buying it used, but now if I still got to pay $90 for a game, I'm back in the
What's
same
point?
boat.
Yeah, unless they do digital sales and not maybe the physical will be the same price, but maybe they do sales on digital games.
Yeah,
That's
and
the
then
only thing I
you've
can.
got to you got to catch them, and then hopefully, but a lot of times their digital sales are they're clearance, but they're very small discounts.
Right. Yeah,
Zelda will go from
5%.
60 to 40 or something. And like I said, maybe I'm just
Yeah.
spoiled because I'm used to these like 75% off discounts on Steam, but
Yeah. 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 It's hard for me to justify that $80-$90
yeah,
price tag. It really is. It hurts me too because I was really excited for the Switch 2. I really was,
yeah,
but I don't know. I'm still thinking about it. I mean, everything is up in the air at this moment for me, whether I want one or not. I don't get to play, video games anyway as much as I
yeah,
used to, and as much as I would like to. But man, it's just thinking about dropping $1,000 just to play a few games on the Switch 2. That's just not something I had on the game card this year.
yeah. It's hard to put that much money into a single device. Like part of the way I justify spending a lot of when I have the games on my Steam Deck is like I play it on my Steam Deck. I can go and take that same library and now it's on my desktop. Oh yeah, now it's on my
Yeah.
laptop. Or if I ever get a different handheld, like a ROG Ally gaming handheld, now it's on that one. Like it's multi-device. Take it laptop, desktop, Steam Deck. So it's even harder for me now because I've gotten used to that, to go back and be like, okay, here's your Switch 2. This is the only device you can play all those games on. This is it. You can't go. Granted, you can dock it, but it's still just that single device.
Yeah.
That's the problem I'm running into.
I will say some of that the game share stuff was kind of neat because with my family, since they just had like Switches and Switch Lights and stuff, we could that part was kind of cool. Like I was saying earlier, I thought that the initial part of the Direct, it really was heading in the right direction. I was like, I like it was a little bit of a sigh of relief at first because I was like, man, because I've got some games that my family and I play, but we want to play them at the same time sometimes. And I was like, oh well, we just hit that share. I can play, he can play. I only need one copy of the game. I was like, man, I cannot believe they're doing this. This is great. But then you flash forward and see why with the Switch.
Yeah, it's like I said, man. They did everything right up until the prices. If they can get the prices under control and get it reasonable, like this, it'd be like better than the Switch 1 because they have like the horsepower under the hood supposedly to play all these other games, like all this AAA games and third-party support, which is going to be even more prevalent now than it was on the Switch 1.
Elden Ring. I mean, I was not expecting that. Like that was really cool to see, and to play that in handheld mode. And I wasn't expecting that. That was a really nice surprise. But
so that's pretty cool. That's something you can do on Steam Deck as well.
Right.
But it's cool. Like it's perfect because it has the horsepower under the hood. It's got all the cool detachable Joy-Cons and all the stuff you can do. You can't do that on the Steam Deck. It doesn't have detachable Joy-Cons or anything like that. You're kind of just stuck with this big chunky device.
the magnetic Joy-Cons was a hit out of the park.
You don't have those creaky metal rails anymore.
Yes, that was a brilliant move. I think the magnetic is it. I can't remember how they described it in the video, but how you release them, the magnetic. I don't know.
There's some kind of button and it pushes the Joy-Cons out, and then you just grab them or something like.
Yeah, I just thought that was such a good move, a good move with those Joy-Cons.
Yeah,
there's really good things about it. I'm with you. There's a lot of really good things about it. If the pricing was just a little bit better, a little bit more there for.
Yeah, you know who this is great for?
The average player.
This is great for like somebody that just gets it as a birthday present.
They
don't have to pay the $450 and maybe somebody buys them a couple of games and like, man, you have it and you didn't have to dump all that money in it. That's great.
Yeah, you're right about that. Yeah, I could see that being like somebody's like main Christmas gift or whatever.
Oh yeah,
this year.
That's all you get.
Yeah, that's all you're getting. That's one thing.
That's the next 3 Christmases. That's all you get for the next.
It's Christmas, birthday, Easter basket, everything all in one.
Yeah. I think that's overall great Direct, great system. Like the idea of everything. Spoiled by the prices, and that's going to be such a major issue. And I'm hoping they can. I hope they can do something with it. So.
See, and I'll mention before we get off here. I think the pricing is really going to be the hard for the average gamer. The not the like diehard fans. Yeah. The hard gamers like you or I, like we've been gamers our whole lives, but for the mom and dad who occasionally play, or they have a son or something like that they don't know what system or what they're doing when they're picking out stuff, and they just want to get their son or their daughter something fun to play. That's where it's going to hurt Nintendo, because now everybody knew they could just go and pick up a Switch and there's something that their kids are going to like on there. But now it's like they're going to see that price and they're like, I ain't getting that. There ain't no way you're good. You're totally fine with your Switch. That's who I think that it's just going to be your typical mom and dad trying to find something for their kids to play. Whereas for the last 8 years, they would have bought a Switch.
Yeah.
Nine times out of 10 over the PlayStation and Xbox, because I don't want to say they don't know any better, but they might not know any better. And they know with the Switch, they can play it in the car. There's tons of games. The library is huge. They can pick it up on the go. They can play it on the screen. So it like fulfills and satisfies all these categories. And the price was not that bad.
Yeah. I don't think the Switch 2 is going to be as successful as the Switch 1.
I don't think so either. I
think
really don't. I'm
Switch
really
1 came
curious.
out at the right time, that in the right price, that it was able to be sold like crazy for a long time because the price was right.
I'm really curious to see like sales reports when this thing gets really rolling. I think initially it will sell out, but let's say post holiday season, like what's going to happen 6-8 months down the road? Are people still are they still buying this?
Yeah,
that's where I worry about it for Nintendo. And if the Switch, if you think about it historically, from when it come in, like you said, it was a good time because they were coming off the heels of the Wii U, which was not successful, and they had to hurry up and revamp and think of something. I don't know if this is going to be another Wii U. I don't want to say disaster, but disaster. I mean, it really was, as far as the sales standpoint.
Yeah. I feel like it won't be quite at the Wii U level because the formula is right. It does everything right on paper. It's just they may have to eat the cost of it and pass that onto the consumer and then boost their sales that way, because right now they're outpricing everybody, and that's going to hurt their they weren't expecting that, the way they responded. Like, they weren't expecting that.
Did you see the Treehouse Live video in the chat?
Mm-hmm.
It was unreal. The guy I was chatting with through the direct, he's like, "Oh man, you got to go check out the Nintendo Treehouse Live event." So I went and clicked on it, and literally thousands and thousands of people lower the price, lower the price, lower the price, lower the price. I mean, it's just one after another. I've never seen anything like it, but man.
Yeah.
Whew.
I think.
And then.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, and then right after that's when we get the announcement. Oh, we've got to reprice things because of tariffs. I'm just saying it's just a little precarious to me that that they wait till after that video drops and say, "Oh, wait a minute, tariffs might affect the price, and we got to go look at some things."
Yeah. Yeah, I was able to work through the price of the system and be like, okay, I could see $450.
I could too.
It's fair. Like, it's more than I expected, but I was like, okay, it's much stronger. It can do all these things.
I agree with you totally.
But then I got hit with the price of the games. I was like, nope.
Yeah, I know, that's what got me too. Yep. I couldn't believe that. So. Like Kirby and the Forgotten Land, I love that game.
Yeah.
The little man loves that game too.
Mm-hmm.
But it's $80. It's $80 if you want it for the Switch too. Now, granted, we could upgrade and pay the extra $20 or whatever.
Yeah. Now, I feel like they should be a free upgrade, and I'm sure it will be for certain games. That's the way Sony did it when the PS4 came out. I bought Call of Duty Ghost on PS3, and then it had a code, and it's like, hey, upgrade to the PS4 version for free. And
I did the same thing with Resident Evil. I upgraded my Resident Evil 2 because I bought it for PS4, and then when I got a PS5, I was able to upgrade for free to the PS5 version.
And that's just another anti-consumer thing from Nintendo, just adding up.
I don't get it.
I don't know.
Kirby and the Forgotten Land is not an $80 game. It's a fun game, but it's not an $80 game.
Yeah, and
it's just.
And I don't know if you have to pay for Breath of the Wild to upgrade that one. It seems like there's certain games like that will be upgraded for free if you're part of Nintendo Online, but it seems like others you have to pay for.
Yeah, I don't know how they're figuring all this out.
And I looked at the upgraded footage versus the original, and you can't even tell a difference, especially in handheld mode. Maybe the frame rate is better, but like it's such a minor difference that which is all the more reason they should let you do it for free. Like,
yeah,
your average 9-year-old's not going to be able to tell the difference between the difference in frame rates and stuff. But
I think IGN showed maybe that you save a total of like 6 seconds on load time.
Yeah, depending on the game and stuff. It's like that should be a free upgrade as part of paying that $450 price for the system.
You're right about that.
Anyways, I mean, I guess that's my final thoughts. Yeah. Impressed with the system. not impressed with the prices whatsoever, and that's going to be
I'm
the nail in the
I'll
coffin
live
for
in,
me for now, at least.
yeah, I'll live down that hill too. I'm right there with you.
But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let us know in the comments section what you thought about the Direct. Are you excited to get one? What are your, concerns with it? What do you think they're going to do with the prices? Do you think they're going to level out? Let us know in the comments section. Make sure you check out the Nostalgia Kid. I'm going to leave a link to his channel below. And thank you guys for watching. And anything you want to
Yeah,
say, Nate?
appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, we'll
Yeah,
see you guys
just
later.
I want to try to be back. I want to try to be back.
Oh
I
yeah,
didn't,
yeah, definitely.
I haven't posted in a while, but life happens sometimes. But I'm at a point to where I can start doing some. I've got some cool series planned out. I'm ready to, I'm ready to film. I'm ready to go. Ready to edit. So
Okay, well, I'm
I'm ready to
excited
get back on
to
here.
watch him. Like I said, I'm going to leave a link in the description, so you guys make
I
sure
appreciate that.
you
Yes.
go and subscribe to the Nostalgia Kid. He's got a lot of good videos already up, and he's working on some really good series that we've talked about that he's got in the works. So we will see you guys later, and thank you for watching.
All right. See y'all.